Hey, welcome to my self-important Magic the Gathering show, where once a week I talk about Magic the Gathering because I feel like it. This week we have the Marvel Secret Lair, then the Deadpool Secret Lair. Edge of Eternities is out as the recording of this, but Spider-Man isn't. I don't know if I don't know if I'm going to do anything with Spider-Man. I doubt I will. I Spider-Man's one of my favorite Marvel heroes, but I don't know, something about the set. Maybe I won't. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. Uh, this isn't the. Excuse me. This isn't the first time I tried recording this episode, but so all of these decks are completed because I did that after my first attempt. But we can still talk about all the cards that made it into the deck. We're going to start with. Actually, let's hit this button and do it in proper color order. I don't actually feel like doing it in that order. I want to. Nope. Well, we're gonna do it in the order that it was before, and then Deadpool is last because he's the most recent one. So first up, we got Wolverine, the best there is. 1 red green for a 2/2 mutant berserker hero. With unrivaled lethality, double all damage Wolverine would deal. So built-in self-damage doubler. At the beginning of each end step, if Wolverine dealt damage to another creature this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on him. And then you can also regenerate Wolverine for 1 and a green. The next time he would be destroyed this turn, instead tap him. It doesn't matter if he's already tapped. If he's already tapped, you still tap him. Doesn't prevent the regeneration from working. It just makes sure that if he wasn't tapped, that he would be tapped. Remove all damage from him. Remove him from combat if he was in combat. Yeah, I read those in the wrong order, so I got confused. So that's neat. Then we have Kedis, Emberclaw Familiar. Whenever a commander you control deals combat damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to each other opponent, which has a funny interaction with his ability, because when he does damage, he does double damage. So when he does that double damage, he will double that damage again when he hits the other opponents. Now, only the person you hit is getting hit by commander damage, because only combat damage is commander damage, and that other damage is non-combat damage. Then we have the Adamantium Bonding Tank, of course, because this is Wolverine. I think I've put this in quite a few decks. You know, whenever a creature you control leaves the battlefield, it add counters. Those counters go on this, and at the beginning of combat, your turn, you can put all of the counters on the Ozolith onto one target creature. That target creature doesn't have to be one of yours. That's what's interesting. That may not ever be relevant, but like if you think that you're going to lose and you just kind of want to king make out of spite, you can do that on your final turn. Benevolent Hydra, it enters with so many +1/+1 counters, and then if one or more +1/+1 counters will be put on another creature you control, it gets an additional one. And then you can take one of its +1/+1 counters and put it on another thing. Which you take one off of this and put 2 on another, because that's how his ability works. Otterwin, Weaver of Hope. Each other creature you control enters with a number of additional +1/+1 counters equal to her toughness. So, like, at base it's 1, but if you ever put any more on her, you know, that goes up. Then we have Rite of Passage. This is only in here because it's a Wolverine Secret Lair card. Whenever a creature control is dealt damage, it gets a +1/+1 counter. I think it has to survive that damage for it to count. I'm not sure, but that's what card info is for, or what ruling is for. Okay. Well, I guess you get the counter before it checks to see if checks state-based actions. That's my only assumption. Thunderous Velocipede. It's a vehicle that causes other creatures you control to enter with an additional +1/+1 counter if its mana value is 4 or less. So our boy Wolverine only enters with 1, but if it's 4 or greater, it gets 3. That's funny. Tromel, Seymour's Butler. Each other non-token creature you control enters with an additional +1/+1 counter. And then you can proliferate based on the number of non-creature tokens you control that entered this turn. Forgotten Ancient gets a +1/+1 counter anytime any player casts a spell. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, you can remove any number or move any number of +1/+1 counters from this creature onto other creatures. Multiple. Helena and Elena gives haste and +1/+1 counters equal to her power. And I'm going to take a drink of water. Ouroboros, brand new from Edge of Eternities. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put X +1/+1 counters on each creature you control, where X is this creature's power. That doubles every turn because this thing also gets the counter. That is wild and totally worth the include. Renata. Power equals your devotion to green, but also other creatures enter the battlefield with additional +1/+1 counter. Thundering Raiju. Whenever this attacks, you get a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Then Thundering Raiju deals X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of modified creatures you control other than the Raiju. Let's see. Domri Raid. +1. Don't exactly, well, you draw a card, but not really if the top card of your library is a creature. You can also make a creature you control fight another creature. And then an ultimate that don't matter, but it gives your creatures double strike, trample, hexproof, and haste. That probably ain't happening, because what we want to do is to +1 to keep Domri around, and -2 to have Wolverine fight stuff. That's it. Terra Symbiosis. Whenever you put one or more counters on a creature you control, you may draw that many cards once a turn. This is the card why we don't put in, by the stuff that we put in that increases counters only increases by 1 and not by double. Because we don't want to draw, this is going to sound silly, but we don't want to draw too many cards, because then we'd have to discard the hand size, and I don't like doing that. Naelith the Dire Hunt. We recognize this from a couple of decks. Whenever one or more creatures you control fight or become blocked, you draw a card, and then you can make it to where one of your creatures has double power and has to be blocked. Toski, we draw a card whenever a creature we control deals combat damage to a player. This thing is also indestructible and has to attack. Excuse me. Red 13, Proud Warrior. Other modified creatures you control have Vigilance and Trample. He has Vigilance and Trample. And then when Red 13 enters, return target aura or equipment card from your graveyard to your hand. That might never matter, but if someone destroys one of our pieces of equipment, well, Red 13 can get it back. Karlach gives us an additional combat. Anki Battle Squad gives us an additional combat as long as we have a modified creature. And then we're in our lands. I didn't notice this, but this got reprinted in the Edge of Eternity's bonus sheet, which is still one of my favorite bonus sheets. It's all lands, but it's just great reprints. Like, not every single one of them is 100% great, but like overall, it's A plus. It's an A plus sheet. Abundant Groot because it's a. With all these decks, I put as many of the. I put all of their own secret layers in the deck, for better or worse, and then whichever other ones fit, I put in. So we have Abundant Groot. That's mana fixing. Like, when you put this in a deck, it always puts itself into ramp, which just isn't true because it doesn't add additional mana. It just fixes your colors. Pest Infestation, Shattering Spree, Vandal Blast with Deadpool on it, of course. Mizium Mortars, Nylea's Intervention because it can grab us lands if we need it, or it can take care of flying creatures if that's the problem. Delayed Blast Fireball, I still like this version. Legolas's Quick Reflexes because it can deal damage equal to its power to a creature. Rhythm of the Wild, because it can give haste or a +1/+1 counter. Rash Taunter, because, I don't know, it's just funny that this is... Because if nothing else, we can always do damage to this, so we can do damage to face, since it's indestructible. It's something that we could have Wolverine fight, if nothing else. Xenagos, God of Revels, in this Secret Lair version I still like. Increases power and toughness by the power of the creature. Unnatural Groot, of course. Doubles power and toughness of your creatures until end of turn. So basically, this again, but costs more because it's on a creature. Then we have our Tony Stark Soul Ring, our Waifu Cold Steel Heart, Avengers Tower, this Felwar Stone, Goblin and Archomancer because, you know, ramp into the north, Moss Diamond, Nature's Lore with Black Panther and Groot on it, Farseek, Rampant Groot, Sakura Trivelder, the Iron Crag, because if we don't need it as ramp anymore, and I gotta do something with my nose. If we don't need it as ramp anymore, we can turn it into a piece of equipment. 3 visits, but the Monty Python version because it amuses me. This Domery, which put it in ramp because of its +1, also makes our strength creature stronger, and also it has that same -2 to make a creature fight. Kami of Whispered Hopes has that +1/+1, has additional +1/+1 counter things on it, but also it can add mana equal to its power. Ramps when modified creatures attacks, and also gives our modified creatures trample. Berserk, it has the classic yellow and brown Wolverine costume. +X/+O, which equals the creature's power, but then you have to destroy that creature if it attacked. Blizzard Brawl. Our creature gets indestructible if we have 3 snow permanents, which would be our lands. Bushwhack, get a land or do a fight. Deals damage equal to its power to a creature or planeswalker. I put all the cheap ones in here. I didn't put all of the cheap ones. The ones that had like secondary modes that weren't relevant to the deck, I left out just to save space. If we give a fish, we could put a +1/+1 counter on our creature before it fights. If the creature we control to enter this turn, it gets a +1/+1 counter and then they fight. Target creature we control with a +1/+1 counter on it fights something, and it's called Mutant's Prey, so that's funny. Prey Upon, that's just a fight. Primal Might is a fight with a possible pump effect. A small pump if Wolverine hasn't gained any power yet, because its base power is 2, it gets +2/+2, then fights. Is it power exactly 2? Yep, power is exactly 2. If we cast this on our own main phase, our creature gets +1/+1 till end of turn, then they fight. This is a creature that can make things fight. This is Fling because it's Wolverine. And that makes another card that didn't make into this deck funnier. Oh, I should have put Solemn Simulacrum should have been in this deck because that could have been Colossus. Anyway, Gargos, the Hydra thing, there's one Hydra in the deck, so this has a possibility of mattering depending on the order of cards drawn. But whenever a creature we control becomes a target of a spell, this thing can fight something. It is tempting to try to... You should... Like, you're a protection spell, but you really do belong in removal. I am tempted to put in the Solemn Simulacrum just to have it... where is my ramp section? Did it go? There it is. But I have like 16 pieces of ramp already. Although 16, 15, 14, 13 pieces of ramp. I could take out the Cold Steel Heart. Though we know Wolverine gets more ladies than he really deserves. We could also remove the Felwar Stone. But we're going to leave it as is for now. Because that's merely a funny rather than a necessity. So next is Wakanda Forever with the Black Panther. So he's green and a white for a 2/2 human noble hero. He is, after all, the king of Wakanda. He has first strike. Never noticed that before. It's never been important in my mind, but now that I'm reading the card, it's like, oh, he has first strike. Survey the Realm. Whenever Black Panther or another creature you control enters, you get a ++1 counter on a land you control, which is interesting. And then Mine Vibranium. You can pay 3 to move all +1/+1 counters from a land you control to a target creature. And then if you do that, you gain that much life and draw a card. Nice to have card draw in the command zone. It does cost 3 mana. Then of course we have the Adamantium Bonding Tank to hold on to counters, since that's the kind of deck this is. Then we have Minguez to get to throw around counters. Benevolent Hydra again. Botanical Brawler. This is actually turned out to be very interesting when I read it. So it's green and a white for a 0/0 trample that enters the battlefield with 2 counters. And whenever one or more +1/+1 counters are put on another permanent, not creature, permanent, if it's the first time you did that the turn, the Botanical Brawler gets 1. So that's neat. Conclave Mentor gives additional counters, and then when it dies, you gain life equal to its power. Arwen again. Lazel again. This one does all. If we would put 1 or more counters on a creature or planeswalker we control, or ourself, we get an additional 1. Non +1/+1 counters ain't gonna matter a whole lot in this deck, but it is nice to know. The Heart of Caradora, Heart of Valakria. It tutors the mount on vehicle. There is 1 mount in this deck, and I don't know if there is a vehicle in this deck. I know I put this together, but I don't remember. And then it gives the additional +1/+1 counter thing again. Forgotten Ancient again. Ouroboros again. Sovereign Akinek Aharu has Ward 2, so it counters any spell that targets it unless its controller pays 2. And then when he attacks, for each creature you control with power greater than its base power, it gets a number of +1/+1 counters equal to the difference. Primal Vigor, because this is in it's in Black Panther's Secret Lair. If one or more one or more tokens would be created, twice that many are created instead, and that's symmetrical. And then same deal with +1/+1 counters, and again it's symmetrical, so it's not as good as the other one, but this is the one that they decided to put in the thing instead of whatever the other one was called, Doubling Season. Burke, Long Ear of the Law. When it enters, you get a +1/+1 counter on up to 2 target creatures. And then whenever a creature with +1/+1 counters on it attacks, you double the number of counters on it. Vorinclex doubles the number of counters we place and halves the number of counters our opponents place. Brijon, that's how I choose to pronounce it. Soldier of Meletis can remove +1/+1 counters from herself to draw cards. Dustleaking Duelist draws us a card for the first +1/+1 counter put on it a turn. Diadrain Synthesis Amalgam has Trample, enters with so many +1/+1 counters on it. +2 because it's total mana spent to cast it. That's neat. And whenever you attack, you can remove a +1/+1 counter from each of 2 creatures to get a 2/2 robot. I thought that was a neat effect, so I put that in the deck. Oh, you also draw a card from it, so that's also good. Oh, and the creatures that you remove the +1/+1 counters don't have to be the ones that are attacking, so that's neat. Terra Symbiosis again. And I clicked out of that on accident. Whenever Halia enters or attacks, you put a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control. Does she have another printing? Nope. Okay. Whenever one or more creatures you control with a +1/+1 counter on them deal combat damage to a player, you draw a card. And then we have our lands. I don't think there's Croson Verge because it's a white-green deck. Minas Tirith because we want to attack with a lot of creatures. And if we do, we can pay a total of 3 because this is a land to draw a card. Mistveil Plains to get stuff back. Oh, and the Wakandan Skyscraper as Karn's Bastion because it proliferates. It's expensive, but it's from the Secret Lair. Lara Croft and the Spear. Abundant Groot. Oh, Pest Infestation needs to be switched to my preferred printing. Heliod's Intervention. Apparently I missed doing this. Nylea's Intervention. Good old Settle the Wreckage. Danging Verdict, because, you know, all creatures with no counters, so we plan on having a lot of them. Heroic Intervention, because it's from the Secret Lair. I keep thinking that's Daredevil because of the color scheme, but that's Claw. You can tell because his hand is that. Mirror Shield, Swiftfoot Boots, Champion's Helm, Darksteel Plate, Mithril Coat, Hammer of Nazahan, Unnatural Groot, Birds of Paradise, but the African Swallow version because Wakanda's in Africa. This is Monty Python Holy Grail again. This specific Soul Ring, because once again it's African, so I kind of wanted to go into that theme. But it's the Avengers Arcane Signet, Into the North, Nature's Lore, Farseek, Abundant Groot, Selesnya Signet, Talisman of Unity. They also want a Shrubbery. Solemn Simulacrum on this one because we wanted more ramp. We wanted more land-based ramp. Ashaya to turn all of our creatures into lands. Because that makes Black Panther incredibly funny. And then because they were dating for a while, I don't know what's up with that anymore. The Storm Regrowth. There's our the only other mount in the entire deck, District Mascot, and Hopeful Initiate. They're both here. So this destroys artifacts. This is a little bit more expensive, but destroys artifacts and enchantments. Path to Exile, Nature's Claim, Swords to Plowshares, Unwanted Remake, Bovine Intervention, Fateful Absence, Nature's Chant, Parting Gust, Beast Within, Generous Gift, Memories of Nibelheim, Secure the Waste because it's from the Secret Lair again. It creates warriors. I like how this turned out. We didn't put all the enters with bonus +1/+1 counters, just the when you put +1/+1 counters, you get extra ones. Since Selesnya has a slightly different set of cards than Gruul does, so I wanted to take advantage of that. So now we have I Am Iron Man. So we have Iron Man, Titan of Innovation, a human hero, 3 blue-red for a 4/4. Flying in haste. That haste part is super important. I mean, haste is always good, but, you know. Whenever Iron Man attacks, create a treasure token. Then, you may sacrifice a non-creature artifact. That non-creature part, I forgot about when I was putting this deck together. If you do, suit your library for an artifact card with mana value equal to 1 plus the sacrifice artifact's mana value. Put it into the battlefield tapped and then shuffle. I did a lot of wrong things with this deck, so let's... because I didn't see the non-creature part. So let's see if... let's actually go and do this by mana value. So mana value is our... all 38 of our lands, I think. Let's go through them really quick, since there are some things. We have the Academy Ruins, which puts an artifact card from our graveyard on top of our library. If we're going to be sacrificing artifacts, it's nice to get them back. Darksteel Citadel, it's an artifact land that's indestructible. The Snarl, Glimmer Void. If we have no artifacts, we have to sacrifice it, but it adds for any mana. I just thought it was neat. Artifact land that adds for red. The Inventor's Fair, it's from Tony's Secret Lair. If you control 3 or more artifacts at the beginning of your upkeep, begin of life, it taps for colorless. But you can also pay for and sacrifice it to search your library for an artifact and put it in your hand. But you have to have, again, you have to have 3 or more artifacts to do that. And then we have our New Capenna Islands. That, and then our New Capenna Mountain. Power Depot from the reprint. Enters tapped. It's an artifact land. 1 mana of any color, but only to cast artifact spells or activate the abilities of artifacts, but also has modular, which could matter because Tony can sacrifice this. And then it generically taps for colorless. The Verge, the blue artifact land, the dual land for artifact lands, Steam Vent, Treasure Vault, can make treasures. And then from the new set, you have to station it, which means you have to tap creatures over time to put counters on it equal to 12 power. And then you can pay blue, tap it, and add blue for each artifact you control. And then at 1 we have the Commander's Plate, which would give Tony specifically protection from green, white, and black, because he's a blue-red. Galvanic Blast, because it's from his secret lair. Does 2 damage or 4 damage if you have 3 or more artifacts. Masterwork of Ingenuity enters play as a copy of an equipment. Pongify, Rapid Hybridization, Shattering Spree, Soul Ring, of course, Tony's power core thing. Lorecroft Spear, Vandal Blast featuring Deadpool. Brotherhood Regalia, because it allows Tony to attack and not be blocked. Wait. Changing how I'm sitting. Hopefully I can still be heard. I might have to talk a little bit louder. Waifu Cold Steel Heart. This one's funny because you can say Tony has a Cold Steel Heart even though it's like radioactive. Avengers Tower, of course. Enthusiastic Mechanaut, of course, because it makes artifacts cheaper. Ethereum Sculptor makes artifacts cheaper. Felwar Stone, Fire Diamond, Mind Stone, Mirror Shield, Mizium Mortars, Prowler's Helm, Psychic Paper, Reality Shift, Sky Diamond, Swiftfoot Boots, Talisman of Creativity, the Iron Crag, Thought Vessel, Treasure Map, because if we flip it, we can sacrifice treasures to draw cards. Weapons manufacturing from the new set. One, funny, because Tony, Stark Corp was in the weapon manufacturing business until he decided to be Iron Man. Whenever a non-token artifact you control enters, you get a colorless artifact token named Munitions. When this token leaves the battlefield, it does 2 damage to any target. Notice it doesn't say that it gives you any way to sacrifice it, but Tony can sacrifice it, and you can just fail to find if you don't have anything left in your deck that costs 1 mana. Academy Manufactor, which gives us a food and a clue whenever we make treasures. Champion's Helm, Dark Steel Plate. I don't like this treatment, but I felt that this style of not exactly blueprints because it ain't blue, fit Tony. Delay Blast Fireball. You know what? I am just gonna. It's funny that this cheap secret lair one is $1 less, but we'll stick. And then Foundry Inspector, artifacts are 1 cheaper. Mithril Coat. Psymaster Thopterus allows us to draw cards, but also creates Thopters when we cast artifact spells. Sculpting Steel to copy any artifact on the battlefield. Ulthros Research Craft. So it can station, and then we just need to put 3 power on it. Excuse me. And then for it to get, whenever you cast an artifact spell, draw a card, put a charge counter on this artifact, so that's a piece of card draw. And then when it gets up to 12, which we can still station it the old-fashioned way, but also for every time we cast an artifact spell, we get a counter. This gets +1/+1/0 for each artifact you control. It's also an 08 with flying, so that's a darn good blocker. Whisper Silk Cloak, unblockable. Aether Eyes, Hammer of Nazan. Joyer's Familiar to make all historic spells cheaper, so that's artifacts, legendaries, and sagas. Roaming Throne to basically get 2 treasures a turn. Solum. Boy, this could be, if we put it in Wolverine's, it could have been Colossus. Putting it in this deck, it could be just, it kind of is reminiscent of his original suit, only, it's a little bit more sleeker than that. But it could also be Vision, or just any number of his suit drones. Storm the Vault. This has the add blue to your mana pool for each artifact you control. But also, whenever one or more creatures you control deals combat damage to player, you get a treasure. And then if at your end step you control 5 or more artifacts, you transform it to the side that does the thing. Vidalcan Archmage to draw a card when we cast an artifact. Aether Spouts. Dawn Sire from Edge of Eternities. This thing is just silly stupid. And it's totally a thing Tony would have. When you get 10 counters on this, it deals 100 damage to a creature or planeswalker when you attack. That's just funny. And then if you ever get it to the 20, which honestly this thing's removal bait. Let's be perfectly clear. The second it looks like you're going to get to that 20 plus to get a flying 20/20, they are going to remove it. But it's funny. Also, we don't want it to get 20 because this is a non-creature artifact with mana value 5, and that's important. So we'd rather sacrifice it to get something of 6. Then we have Karn Legacy Reforge, power and toughness equal to the highest mana value of artifacts you control. And then at the beginning of our upkeep, we get a colorless for each artifact we control, and we don't lose that until the end of turn. Auton Soldier to basically be a 6 mana second Tony. Brutaclad. Creature tokens have haste. At the beginning of combat on our turn, it gives us a mirror. And then we can turn all of our tokens into copies of a single token. So that mirror can either stay a mirror, or that mirror can become another clue or food or treasure or whatever we have a token of around. Or they all can become 2/1 blue mirrors if that's the direction things went. Kappa Cannoneer, of course. Whenever Kappa Cannoneer or another artifact enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Kappa Cannoneer, and it can't be blocked this turn. It also has Ward of 4 and Improvise, which means we can tap artifacts to pay for the colorless. Right? Yes. Cyberman Squadron, non-legendary artifacts have Myriad. I just think that's neat. And also, since it's a Cyberman, the Cybermen just do kind of remind me of Tony. Just like crappy versions of his armor. And we do have non-legendary artifact creatures in here. Whoops, I almost... Cauldron Complete. This is very, like, Ultron feeling to me. The germ is the Ultron consciousness, in my opinion. Meteor Golem. Cityscape Leveler. So if you've noticed that at 6 and 7... Well, no, Cauldra is the 7 mana value non-creature artifact, but we don't have one at 6. So I would have to change that. And then we have Meteor Golem, but we don't have one at 8 because that's Cityscape Leveler. 9 we have Hulking Metamorph. Then we have this Ancient Stone Idol at 10. And then Optimus Prime at 11 and Megatron at 12. Like, I thought, since I didn't know that it was non-creature artifact, the highest thing we can get to is 8. And then the Cityscape Leveler is something that we want to cast anyway. And this puts it on the battlefield. I still kind of want the Cityscape Leveler. And I'd rather just cast it. And then we have the one thing at 9. But the Ancient Stone Idol can go because it doesn't do anything we want. We can get rid of this Hulking Metamorph because it doesn't do what we want. man, I really do want. See, what's nice is that we can just hard cast Optimus Prime and Megatron. Oh, and that's a stupid sounding phrase. Tell you what. But what I want is maybe a 6, so I can go to 7 to grab my Cauldra, Meteor Golem, or Cyberman Squadron. And then 7 can go to 8. Because you get this, so you don't get the cast trigger, but you do get the attack trigger if it sticks around. But yeah, I think I want some non-creature 6s, and then if I get Megatron or Optimus Prime in my hand, I'll just worry about hard casting them. And then maybe another 5. So how many spots do I have open? 3? Yeah, so let's grab a 5 and 2 6s. Is there anything else that I needed to say what it was? Optimus Prime is just a big beater, 11/11 with trample indestructible, and if he's put into a graveyard from anywhere, he goes back into your library, which is funny. And the Megatron is all of that, but costs 1 more and has Infect. And then Cityscape Leveler on cast and attack destroys a non-land permanent and gives the controller of the permanent a tapped Power Stone. And you can also cast it from the graveyard, and I think that exiles it at the end of that turn, but also gives it haste. Yeah, so how many creatures do we have? That throws us down to 18 creatures. Let's go by categories. I like how this is an enchantment, like, because I couldn't think of another. I didn't feel like moving it to like Sack Outlet or anything like that. I mean, I guess technically it goes down into tokens. But I actually don't like how it moved my stuff around. Anyway, oh, we have our 6 Mass Disruption. 7 pieces of regular removal. That's mildly funny. So we want T, artifact, minus T, creature, MV equals 6, or MV equals 5. Order CMC, because I want to keep that separate. So let's see. We can reverse the game's turn order. That's ridiculous. Base power and toughness equal to your life total. Al-Babara's Carpet? Huh. Alhammaret's Archive, Altar of the Goyf, Amulet of Making, Banner of Kinship, Ballista Charger. Oh, honestly, Argentum Armor, even though it's really good. I didn't put order in CMC because I mistyped that particular order. But also, that was 1. Now we got to go back to mana value. Okay, so we wanted 2 6s and a 5. And that gave us one of our 6s because even though it's really good, I still want that in the deck. Because it is funny trading that for the ultimate weapon. Anyway, so we want Another 6 and 1 5. Conjurer's Closet doesn't really do anything for us. Let's see. Deals 3 damage to any target. No. Like it's got to be usable. The Genji glove? Yeah, okay, the Genji glove, because it gives us extra attacks, but it's also something that we could sacrifice. The Eternity Elevator is just hilarious, but we're not putting that in. There we go, now we're at 6. A lot of these things we've seen. We have a Caged Sun. Embercleave is mighty funny. Especially since we're like bringing it directly into play. So sure. So basically our goal is to get to Meteor Golem or Cityscape level or something. Our high end isn't exactly great, admittedly. But we're hoping that Academy Ruins will at least put the stuff we sacrifice back in our deck once we get to a high enough point. Not that we have a way to guarantee that we get Academy Ruins. So it's all just kind of a gamble. The deck is kind of more silly because I don't feel like rethinking it too hard. Honestly, the big thing is trading mana rocks at 2 for the equipment at 3. And then also making sure that we're trading like early treasures and food and clue if that one guy comes out to get our 1 mana value ones like the Todex Spear and there's a couple other ones in here. The Commander's Plate and the Masterwork of Ingenuity and stuff like that. I'm going to put you in Pump for now just because I don't feel like thinking about it too much. There we go. Now we have the first Avenger, which if I still have time, I have a second Steve Rogers deck I had an idea for that's even worse than this one. So we have Captain America, First Avenger. Red, white. It's funny that they break their own rules because I think they should be in a different order for Jeskai normally. Hold on, let's find another Jeskai card. There's got to be one in here. Nope, not a single other Jeskai card made into this deck. That's wild. Yeah, it goes blue, red, white. But because it's Captain America, it's red, white, blue. I don't remember if anybody else got that treatment, but Captain America, they broke the rules. So we have Red, white, and blue for a 4/4 human soldier hero with throw. Pay 3, unattached equipment from Captain America. He deals damage equal to that equipment's mana value, divided as you choose among 1, 2, or 3 targets. Because that's the max number of bounces the shield can do, I guess. And then catch. At the beginning of combat on your turn, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to Captain America. We love free equips, tell you what. So now we have Into the Trenches with Captain America, Namor, Bucky, the original Human Torch, and a second guy on fire that I don't know who that is. The original Human Torch was like an android that just caught fire in contact with the air. Anyway, so for 1 and 2 white, creatures in control get +1/+1. I normally wouldn't put this in a deck, but this is Captain America's Secret Lair. And then you can pay 6 to exile target on-land permanent you don't control until this enchantment leaves the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery and only once. Masterwork of Ingenuity to copy an equipment. Sculpting Steel to copy any artifact. Helm of the Host to make more Captain Americas because it's a super soldier program. And also he can equip it for free even, and I think you can order triggers to where he gets, hold on, at the beginning of combat, so I think you can order your triggers to equip and then get your additional Captain America. Pure Steel Paladin, but it's Ash from Evil Dead. How dare they say he's not a legend, but it was a secret lair, so whatever. I am going to take a sip of water. Whenever equipment you enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. Card draw is nice. And then if you control 3 or more artifacts, you can equip all of your equipments for free. SRAM draws as a card when we cast aura equipment or vehicles. Reality Chip lets us look at the top card of our library at any time, and then if this is equipped to something, we can play lands and cast spells off the top of our library. Akiri allows us to draw a card when we attack with equipped creatures, and then we can tap an equipment from a creature we control to give it indestructible. Buster Sword to draw a card and cast free spells. Sword of Fire and Ice draws a card and also deals a damage to a thing. Aether Spark, because it makes a creature stronger, and then maybe we'll draw some cards, and then maybe we'll add a whole ton of mana. And then when the thing that this is attached to deals combat damage. Oh wow, it's not even to a player. Wow, that is GTA broken. But it's combat damage during our turn at least, and then it gets that many loyalty counters. Unexpected Windfall. Discard a card to draw 2 cards and create 2 treasures. You'll see why this is in here later. Excuse me. I did something ridiculous for this deck because it amused me. Brotherhood Regalia, so we can't be blocked. Psychic Paper, so we can't be blocked. Whisper Silk Cloak, so we can't be blocked. Though, and the thing is, his own ability doesn't target him, so the Whisper Silk Cloak still allows us to get the free equips off of Captain America's own ability. And then Optimus Prime and Megatron, because that amused me. Just to kind of have 2 big beaters just hiding in the deck. We can equip as an instant. That seems very important. This recovers an artifact and then also lets us as equip as an instant, but only on our turn. And then we get 1 free equip our turn. Then we have our lands, the Ring of Glory. I'll stop if I see anything interesting. Path of Ancestry, because we can scry when we cast Captain America and any other humans that might be in the deck. Or soldiers or heroes. I don't know how much of that matters. Basilisk Collar, because, you know, Death Touch and Lifelink when we're throwing stuff at people. Shadow Spear for trample on lifelink, and also can remove indestructible and hexproof. Titus's Sword for the Sword, Truth, and Justice. Oh, puts +1/+1 counters on things, and then we can proliferate. Like, the proliferate doesn't matter a lot, but since it puts a counter itself, it puts 2 counters. The Boots, Conqueror's Flail. If it's equipped, opponents can't cast spells during our turn. And also gives Captain America +3/+3. Mirror Shield, Power Sneakers, Champion's Helm, Dark Steel Plate, Flawless Maneuver. It's the spell casts for free if we have our commander, and then creatures we control gain indestructible end of turn. This is just here because it's Secret Lair. Mithril Coat, Shield of War and Peace because it's Captain America's shield. It deals damage to the defending player equal to the number of cards in their hand, and we gain 1 life for each card in our hand. Whatever. I would say it should have been the Shield of Truth and Justice for truth, justice, and the American way, but I think that they put that on Superman more, even though he's not from our planet. Hammer of Nazan as the Pico Pico Hammer. Cauldron Complete again. Shovel of Decapitation, that's the Colossus Hammer, but it has ash on it. Free equip, man. Amy Rose, this is part of the reason we made some weird choices in the deck. She has haste, and whenever Amy Rose attacks, we can attach an equipment to her, so she also gets free equips. And then 1 up to other target creature we control gets +X/+O until end of turn, where X is her power. So that's neat. Genji Glove for extra combat. Ember Cleave because it's still good. And notice I didn't really mess with the frames on this one. Excalibur Sword of Eden because this does 12 damage divided by up to 3. Sigarda's Aid, but it's Captain America's Aid. We can cast equipments as though they had flash, and then whenever the equipment we control enters, we can automatically attach it. And we have the Soul Ring, Puro Headmaster, which makes equipments cheaper and equip abilities cheaper. Sid Free Flyer Pilot. Equipment and vehicles are cheaper. Sid has flying on our turn. And then he can also recover equipment from our graveyard. Neat. Avengers Tower. Enthusiastic Mechanaut again. Therium Sculptor again. Bladegraft Aspirant. Once again, making equipment and equip abilities. Well, it makes all equipment cheaper, and then equipping the Bladegraft Aspirant itself is cheaper. But that's still worth it. The equipability of other equipment is cheaper on this. Danitha makes equipment spells cheaper, and also has First Strike, Vigilance, and Lifelink. That's pretty sweet. Foundry Spectre to make artifacts cheaper. Knuckles Gloves, that's the Reaver Cleaver, so creature gets +1/+1 and has trample, and when it deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, you get that many treasure. Voyager Quick Wielder makes equipments cheaper. Eowyn, Lady of Rohan, at the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature gains your choice of First Strike or Vigilance until end of turn. If that creature is equipped, it gets both of those things. And then equip abilities are cheaper. Bruenor Battle Hammer. Each creature you control gets +2/+0 for each equipment attached to it. And then one time a turn, you get a free equip. Knuckles the Echidna. So Pico Pico Hammer is in here at, well, okay, so Colossus Hammer would have probably been in here anyway, but it was Pico Pico Hammer because I decided I wanted Amy Rose in here. And then Unexpected Windfall is in here, and Knuckles Gloves are in here because I decided I wanted Knuckles in here. And that's also why my Swiftfoot Boots and Lightning Greaves were Sonic's and Shadow's shoes. So Knuckles the Echidna has Double Strike, Trample, Haste, and is a 2/4, and has whenever one or more creatures you control do combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. And at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 30 or more artifacts, you win the game. That part is not important. If I thought that part was important, I would have put this. I would have put the one that made you win the game for 20 artifacts, and I would put both of them in Tony Stark's deck, not this one. Deadpool Vandal Blast, Cloud's Buster Sword as Umezawa's Jite, because why not? Generous Gift, but it's the Sonic one. Argentum Armor, because we already decided that was good. Same with Ultima Weapon. You know, that's not in here. The Ultima Weapon. I'm actually tempted to take out of everything, probably Brutaclad. Oh, but Brutaclad and the Cybermen actually go well together. Because then it would give all of, like, if we turn all of our treasures and stuff into Mirror and give them all Myriad, that is nuts. Especially if we have the Magical Christmas Land of the Kappa Cannoneer in play at the same time. But man, I do want the Ultima Weapon in here as well. And what's funny is that the Joyra's Familiar didn't make it into this deck. But anyway, we'll keep going through this one. Although this is a much more expensive equip. And it only destroys creatures, so Cloud is a tutor, but also gets double triggers off of equipment. Open the Armory instead of Steel Shaper's Gift because it has Amy Rose on it. And Stoneforge Mystic, which I am going to change to this one. I'm not going to worry about a bunch of the other ones. But, yeah. A lot of equipment. And how many people besides Cap to put the equipment on? 21. That's respectable. And then I decided to do something funny by putting some Sonic the Hedgehog characters and Transformers in here because they all also have comic books, but I don't think, I'm fairly certain Marvel printed some comics for Transformers, but I know it was mostly, what was it, IDW, I think. But yeah, no, that's what I did, and that deck amuses me. Now, Weather the Weather with Storm. So we have Storm, Force of Nature, 1 in Teamer for a 3/4 mutant hero with flying and vigilance. We love vigilance. With, what is that, Ceaseless Tempest? Darned italics. Ceaseless Tempest. Whenever Storm deals combat damage to a player, the next instant or sorcery spell you cast this turn has Storm. So when you cast it for each spell cast before it this turn. New targets for copies. So now we have Go-Go Mysterious Mime. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have Go-Go become a copy of another target creature you control until end of turn. Honestly, I should have put this in every single other one I should have put it in Tony's deck, and I probably also could have put it in Steve's deck. Maybe even also Wolverine's deck. Because it may have become a copy of another creature, except for their name stays as Go-Go. So it's like having another temporary copy of your commander. So you get your attacks triggers. Although I guess it wouldn't work with Steve because that's beginning of combat at the same time, and I think when this thing transforms, it also doesn't get Steve's trigger. But I think it would go in Iron Man. Because it's when you attack. But then we get into the thing of he's not an artifact himself, so we'd have to be very careful what we took out. And I honestly don't... I mean, I guess we could take out weapons manufacturing, even though that's funny. So once again, we're going to leave Iron Man the way he is, but I do like Go-Go, and I do want to put him on in a lot of decks that have red in it, because he just copies your commander, and as long as your commander is something that has abilities that you'd want more of, it's pretty good. So yeah, except he's still named Go-Go the Mysterious Mime. If you do, Go-Go and that creature each get +2/+0 and haste until end of turn, just in case that's important. And then they have to attack this turn, so that is important. Lizard Blades to give double strike. Guinea Glove to give double strike and another attack. Ember Cleave to give double strike. Now, the reason why all of that is important is because separate editions, darn, there's another word, instances of Storm will all trigger separately. So if we say we have both Go-Go and Storm out, and they both have double strike, and they both deal combat damage to a player, the next instant or sorcery spell we cast will have Storm, 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 Storm. The problem is that, remember, you have to cast something before you attack to make sure that you have the Storm copy. And then if we have the Genji Glove, we can do our second attack before we cast our spell, so then we get Storm, 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 Storm. Abundant Groot is a nice card that draws a card and is cheap. So that's like, and since like it's mana fixing, so if we really need it early, we can cast it early, but we can also just hold on to it to cast a spell before we trigger Storm. Boy, storming a mana Morphos, aka Aurora Borealis, is kind of funny. Because it would draw us cards and then just add more mana. Tome of Legends, since we're attacking with our commander. Like, this could have gone in way more decks, but our other decks had either I was being irresponsible with their draw, or they had other better ways to draw. Buster Sword, because it's just a good card. Cast your second spell, draw a card, which we're trying to. Cast or copy an instant or sorcery, draw a card. So that can get dangerous with Storm, because it's cast or copy. This makes our instant sorceries cheaper, and then we also draw a card off of them, but only cast, not copy. Arena of Glory for haste, which is important. There we go, remove the foil. Oh, wait, is this interesting? Oh, no, this is just a printing of Reflecting Pool that has a rainbow in it, and I'm like, Storm likes rainbows, because that's part of weather. Path of Ancestry. That's mostly because it's a free 3-color deck, and she can get it off. She can get it off of casting herself, and I don't think there's other mutants or heroes in the deck. We want to protect our commander, and doing it with instants is neat. And then also, the problem is that our commander has vigilance, so unless we can tap it other ways, this next part doesn't matter. But and also she flies, so reach doesn't matter. But hexproof, Tyvar gives hexproof and indestructible and potential buff and attack. Air shoes, Brotherhood Regalia, Power Sneakers, Psychic Paper, Champion's Helm, Darksteel Plate, Mithril Coat, Whisper Silk Cloak, Soul Ring. I'm gonna give her that other one. Like, she's from Africa, but she's not as African as, you know, or should I say, she doesn't have the same ties to Africa that Black Panther does, but she doesn't deny her heritage either. So we're going to give her that one. Arksig, Goblin Electromancer. That reduces instants and sorceries. We don't need that much of a reduction, to be honest, because most of our instants and sorceries don't even have generic pips. End of the North, Nature's Lore again, Newfound Adventure, Stormcatch Mentor, which has haste and prowess, which is nice, on top of them making our instant sorceries cheaper. 3 visits, Haughty Djinn, that has power equal to the number of instant sorceries in our graveyard, but also makes them cheaper to cast. Mocking Sprite makes them cheaper to cast. This card makes this deck technically a bracket 3, but honestly, I think you can talk your party into allowing it into a bracket 2, because I don't think my version is particularly powerful. since you get a bunch of red mana and or exiling the top 3 cards of your library to play this turn. Honestly, I don't think my version is that great because it's mostly cheap spells. Then we have VV that gets stronger as you cast non-creature spells and deals damage to your opponents, and then also adds more mana. Primal Amulet, make on the front side and makes our instants and sorceries cheaper to cast. And then whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, this gets a charge counter. And then once it gets to 4, is it cast or copy? Nope, it's just cast, not copy. And then we can, if we cast instants or sorceries with mana from this Primal Wellspring, it copies the spell once. Then of course we have Regrowth, Mizzix's Mastery in the Final Fantasy XIV skin, Charmbreaker Devils to get instants or sorceries back from our graveyard at random, and Bluster Squall, Lightning Bolt with Storm on it, Pest Infestation, Pongify, Rapid Hybridization, Raise the Effigy, Nature's Claim, Shattering Spree, Smelt, Totek's Spear. I guess I put this down in removal because I was just annoyed with how everything was being situated. Vandal Blast, Mizium Mortars, Reality Shift. I like this version. Beast Within, Delayed Blast Fireball, Ice Storm because it's Storm's Secret Lair card. Aetherize, Aether Spouts, Call Forth the Tempest. It's not from her secret lair, but the name sounds like something she would say. It's 5 and 3 red for a sorcery that has double cascade. So, this is definitely like the highest, one of the 2 highest end things that we can cast. Because what we want to do is cast a thing in main phase 1, attack, get some number of storm on this, which casts 2 more spells off of our deck, and then deals damage to each creature your opponent controls equals to the total mana value of other spells you cast this turn. Like, that's kind of win more because it just sweeps your opponent's boards theoretically. And then Explosive Singularity deals 10 damage to any target. Casting that more than once would be great as well. Young Pyromancer gives us creatures when we cast an instant or sorcery. Baral Enkari Zev has First Strike and Menace. Whenever you cast your first instant or sorcery spell each turn, you may cast a spell with lesser mana value that shares a card type with it from your hand without paying its mana cost. If you don't, you get Ragavan, but not the good Ragavan that steals stuff. Even though I don't steal stuff, but I still admit that that's the better version, objectively speaking. We get a bird when we cast instants or sorceries. We get a drake when we cast instants or sorceries. We get a wizard when we cast instants or sorceries. And then on the back side, our wizards get +2/+1 flying, and then we still get wizards. So I don't think mine is a bracket 3, even though it has 1 game changer in it. Like, objectively speaking, like strictly by the rules it is. But I'm not sure mine is that strong. If it turns out it's that strong, I could probably... Honestly, I would probably alter it a bit and just put in 2 more game changers. But like, I don't play Commander as much as I'd like to. Mostly because my brain won't let me. There's always something my brain wants to do. So now the last one. The deck with the cards, starring Deadpool trading card. I don't proclaim or profess to be original in any of my decks, and I highly doubt my version of this is original. Not entirely at any rate. So, what does Deadpool trading card do? It's 2 a black and a red for a 5/3. As Deadpool enters, you may exchange his text box and another's creatures. That doesn't target. Yeah, it doesn't target because it doesn't say target. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 3 life. Not us, whoever we exchange this text box with. And then you can pay 3 and sacrifice this creature to each other player draws a card. That's not our text box. Our text box is whatever we steal from another creature. Then we have Conjurer's Closet to blink Deadpool. It's like, oh, I don't want this text box anymore. Blink. He comes back with his original text box, and then you can change it for another one. Whatever creature that you stole from first keeps Deadpool's stupid text box, and we just get to steal another one. Blade of Selves from Myriad comes in, steals a text box, then dies to the legend rule. Then we have Mirror Box to make the last sentence I just said not true. And then each legendary creature you control gets +1/+1. And then each non-token creature you control gets +1/+1 for each other creature you control with the same name. Then Delina Wild Mage can make more Deadpools that may or may not die to the legend rule. Go-Go will copy Deadpool. And obviously it doesn't copy Deadpool's effect, but it copies whatever you've stolen. Hum of the Host to make more Deadpools. Ortheon to make more Deadpools. The ones he makes and Delana makes are temporary, for the record. Same thing with the one on Myriad, should any of them stick around. Patrick Star's just in here because it's funny. Call of the Ring to draw cards. Tome of Legends to draw cards because we're probably attacking with our commander. Black Market Connections to maybe draw cards, maybe make treasures, maybe get more creatures. Buster Sword because it draws cards and gives us additional spells casted for free. Orbit Opportunist to draw cards. Starscream theoretically draws us cards because he introduces the Monarch eventually. Yasmin Khan can exile the top card of our library so we can play it till our next end step. Seymour Flux can draw us a card and also make himself bigger. Kefka Dancing Man steals cards out of our opponent's graveyard, which is a thing I've decided it's acceptable to steal out of the graveyard, just not off of the battlefield. That is just my personal take. Makes the Merc with the Mouth sometimes calls himself an assassin, and this makes that official. Non-basic land walk, unblockable. Make our opponents attack for us. Make our opponents attack for us. Big beater, other big beater. I'm not entirely sure what we would give away, in all honesty, but we can do it, and it's from Deadpool's Secret Lair, so, Reign of Glory, I don't think there's any... Oh, the Rainbow Command Tower, because that amused me, because they would never let him into the Avengers, I'll tell you that much. The SpongeBob Basic Lands. Lorecroft Spear. The Commander's Plate. To give protection from white, blue, and green. Swifty Boots. Lightning Greaves. Champion's Helm. Darksteel Plate. Mithril Coat. Shield of War and Peace. Whisper Silk Cloak, but this one specifically. The Super State. Excalibur's Sword of Eden. Chaos Emerald. I'm surprised this isn't a game changer. But it's not. Of course I lost track. That Sol Ring. Oh, Earth's Mightiest Emblem. What card was I looking at saying they wouldn't let him in the Avengers, so I used a different one? Oh, it was the Command Tower. Yeah, there isn't a Command Tower in that secret lair. I'm silly. Doctor Who Mind Stone. Talisman of Indulgence. The Ball. Thought Vessel. Professional Facebreaker. Pitiless Plunderer. This specific Solemn Simulacrum just felt very Deadpool to me. Of course, Vandal Blast. Go for the Throat. Terminate. 'Tis but a scratch. A scratch your arms off. I felt that was fitting for Deadpool as well. Bedevil. Murderous Rider. Overkill. Saw in Half. Deadly Rollick. Terror of the Peaks. Summon Primal Odin. Meteor Golem. Ultima Weapon. Blasphemous Act. Summon Bahamut. The Master Multiplied. I wondered if he was going to be in here or not. You might have noticed that, like, if there's any difference between the Deadpool I built and the Deadpool anyone else builds, other than my own idiosyncrasies of cards I like to put in decks, it's that I did a lot of Universes Beyond. Like, the only things that aren't Universes Beyond are the things in this specific section, like Go-Go is and Clive is, but the Conjurer's Closet isn't, Mirror Box isn't, Delina isn't. Although I would argue Delina is, but I guess D&D is canon to Magic the Gathering because same company. Whatever. But yeah, Helm of the Host and Ortheon and the Mirror Box are strictly universes within. I would have put the other version of this in it, but its legend rule doesn't apply to anyone, and it also costs 2 more. I also like that Patrick Star is just creature because the text box, he doesn't have any abilities, so he's just creature. What did we hit? Oh, we hit an hour and a half. Okay. So I'm going to build one more deck. Ugh. Because I said I would if we still had time. And we do, and this other deck is dumb. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to hit back. I'm going to hit the first Avenger. We are going to export, because there's a lot of stuff in here that I am just going to keep, by categories. We want our commander. We want our land. We want protection. we want ramp, and we want removal, and we want the tutors, honestly. I'm not sure about anything else. So we will copy. We will new deck. With an exclamation point, call it private. We will put it in Marvel. Close, import, save. Hold on, my cushions are sliding around. Hoi! That is technically better. So we are going to remove that. We are going to remove that. That. We're going to remove that for now. We are going to remove that. We are moving you down to tutor. You are the commander. You go to ramp. And you go to removal. There you are. Now I'm going back to this one because that is a weird small amount of removal. Well, I guess that's all I put in removal. No Path to Exile, no Swords to Plowshares. That is mildly interesting. Let's see. So we have our 37 lands. Yep. We have two of our 3 tutors. I'm going to put in a 3rd tutor, but I'm putting in the other one. Putting in Steel Shaper's Gift. Does this have another version? Oh, whatever's going on here. There are 2 other cards that I think I want to put in here. First, Art. Captain America. See if anything got... Yep, In the Trenches got left behind. And then Art. Groot. Forge anew and Leonin Shikari. Honestly, Sigarda's aid kind of goes in that section too. Since we can play them as at flash speed and they equip right away. Not exactly the same, but similar. You know, now that I'm thinking about it, I kind of also want the stuff from the draw section. Not everything from it. Actually, just Ash and Sram. Yes. Oh, well, I don't know what I put in before, but we're putting in this Furion. What about this Forge anew? Wait, what is this down here? Oh, we'll do this version. And then, I don't remember this having anything else. And that leaves us with 76. How many creatures are we down to? 15. So we're going to want 5 more creatures, but first thing is this stupid thing. Basically, I had a stupid idea, and we have 80. Wow, we have 83 shields. Order CMC. So let's see. Is there anything in here that's not that's a weapon that's not a shield? Like, okay, so we're gonna get rid of Conqueror's Flail. A helmet is fine. Shoes are fine. Ultima weapon actually gets to go away because it's a sword. But Argentum armor can stay. Cauldron Complete can stay because there's a shield in there somewhere. But in fact, we'll put together we'll put in all 3 other pieces of Cauldron because that amuses me. So first, Control X, call Dura. We will live the dream. put all of the Cauldras into one section and just call it Cauldra. There. And there were only 3 pieces of Cauldra. That just amuses me to no end. So we still need, I would still like 5 more creatures as long as they are wait, let's go to type again. So I want them to be, so I want equipment and 5 more. Is it Vidal Ken? Remember how I was having trouble with that in another video? I don't know if that video's come out yet, but I definitely had trouble spelling Vidalkin. But we want that because we draw for artifact spells. Yeah, I don't think we need the rest of that. So we're going to go back here. So let's see. Oh, a shield, guys. That's neat. Gives all of our creatures ward 1. This has an equip of 3 and gives vigilance. Let's see what other printings there are. I don't know what set this is. Oh, Scars of Mirrodin. I was not playing at the time. So we'll put that in. We have Cathar's Shield, which is the same thing. It's the exact same thing. This is the same thing but worse. So I'm actually not going to put it in. What's funny is that these things, I'm putting them in for the vigilance, but like you don't unequip them because they don't do any damage. Screaming Shield. Shield Mate, someone else with shields. That's mildly interesting. If a source would deal damage to a equipped creature, prevent X of that damage, where X is the number of creatures you control. Shield Breaker, we don't like him in this deck. Whenever a creature you control becomes this copy of it, becomes a copy of a backup ability. That was almost good. Paladin's Shield, +0/+2. Flash and auto equips. +0/+2 in vigilance. And then when it blocks, the thing it blocks doesn't untap on its next turn. Ooh, can block an additional creature. I like that. Actually, I like that the thing that it blocks doesn't untap. Oh, mobilize. That's neat. How about the shield on the backside of this? Nah. Is he a soldier? Yes. This funny thing. Whenever you draw your or cast your second spell each turn, draw a card and then make a wall with Defender. Oh yeah. It's just a big shield. Shush. Pariah's Shield, sure. All damage that we dealt to us is dealt to the equipped creature instead. Just make him indestructible. Just saying. Though that also means that I kind of want to put the Brash Taunter in here. Like, just have that hidden in the deck. We're going to go back to type, because I just want to keep track of creatures. The Shield Maiden. Huh. Hui! At the beginning of combat on your turn, if another human entered the battlefield under your control this turn, create 2/2 red human knight creature tokens with trample and haste, and if we control 6 or more humans, draw a card. What are we sitting on for humans? We have this human. Is Ash a human? Ash is a human. You're a human. Sid is a human. Cloud is a human. The Mechanaut and the Ethereum Sculptor are not humans. Firion is a dwarf for the purposes of that card. That's funny. Not a human. Cores are not human. You are not human. But you are human. Not human, not human. Human. Dwarf. Human. Not human, not human. I could add more humans. But, like, that would need a lot of humans. Sadly, there isn't exactly a whole lot of shields. Oh, mobilize X, where X is. You know what? We'll just do this, even though that's not a whole lot. Yeah, that was less interesting than I thought it would be, but we're going to go shield counter. Just to see if we have, so there's only 15 cards that do shield counters. Ooh, Aegis of the Legion. Aegis is, of course, another type of shield. So whenever equipped creature mentors a creature, put a shield counter on that creature. So this at least passes out shields, so that's something. And it's also repeatable shield counters. That's what's important. Choose up to one target creature, put a +1/+1 counter on it in either flying, first strike, lifelink, or vigilance. Okay, so that was the only thing that has repeatable shield countering. We're at 88. We have 18 creatures. We are going to go back to the first Avenger to see if there are any other creatures I missed that maybe I want in here. So let's go type. Oh no, because it remembers. I guess Akiri. Yeah, Akiri from 19, because that gives us our draw. Yeah, that's another draw thing. Line Slinger specifically. Oh, whoops, nope. I was wrong. The Fearless Voyager. So we have 19 creatures. Let's go and, since my idea kind of fizzled out because there's not actually a whole lot of cool shields. Actually, Aegis. Let's see what else has that in its name. Not a whole lot, as it turns out. Assimilation Aegis. When it enters, we exile a thing until this thing leaves. Oh, and then the equipped creature becomes a copy of the thing that it exiled. That's funny. But none of this is particularly interesting. I think I'm going to grab some proper removal. So we're going to go T instant T target destroy or exile order CMC. That should have been an O. Path to exile. We'll even do Pongify. Rapid Desirization. Swords to Plowshares. Unwanted Remake. Bovine Intervention. Throw in a Disenchant. Fateful Absence. Sing Along. Heliod's Intervention. Parting Gust. I did miss one up here in the ones. Oh, that's right. The ones and the ones would have been sorcery. Sometimes I forget things are not as fast as I thought they were. Oh, we have Generous Gift already, so we're just looking for the other one. Stroke of Midnight. Oh, and that put us exactly at 100. So, whoops. That was that. My worst. So this one went there. Where'd the other one go? That'll be interesting to see where it went. Did it go into protection? Yes, it did. It's the same thing. But let's do that. This is, of course, objectively worse simply because it doesn't have Excalibur in it. And also has two 0 cost pieces of equipment. Like trying to do Cauldra. That's nonsense. What does this say here? Well, we can have Cauldra and Cauldra Complete separate because this isn't complete or complete. Then we have all of this nonsense. bunch of cheap removal. Mostly white now. We have three tutors, even though we don't have a whole lot of stuff worth tutoring for. But whatever. That was that. That's all for this week. Next week will be something else. I don't know what it is until I decide to upload it. See you then.